If a flagger is directing traffic in a construction zone, you must A. Follow the directions given by the flagger. B. Copy what surrounding traffic is doing, despite the flagger's instructions. C. Assume the flagger is not supposed to be directing traffic. D. Follow the laws that would be in place if the area was not under construction. A. Follow the directions given by the flagger. Be prepared to reduce your speed and use caution when directed to do so by a sign, flagger, or law enforcement officer. Failure to do so is illegal and is dangerous to those working in construction zones. If two vehicles arrive to a four-way stop at the same time. A. The vehicle on the left must yield to the vehicle on the right. B. The vehicle on the right must yield to the vehicle on the left. C. Drivers must make hand motions to communicate with each other. D. One driver should proceed without stopping. A. The vehicle on the left must yield to the vehicle on the right. In general, vehicles at a four-way stop should proceed in the order that they arrive. However, if two vehicles arrive to the intersection at the same time, the vehicle on the left must yield the right of way to the vehicle on the right. After stopping for a school bus that is unloading children. A. Do not proceed until the children wave to you. B. Watch for children walking along the side of the road. C. Accelerate quickly. D. Turn on your emergency flashers. B. Watch for children walking along the side of the road. After stopping for a school bus that has its stop arm extended and its lights flashing, watch for children walking along the side of the road. You should always drive with caution when driving near children. When turning left, drivers must yield the right of way to A. Other drivers who are already in the intersection. B. Oncoming traffic. C. Pedestrians who are already in the intersection. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When turning left, drivers must yield the right of way to oncoming traffic. Drivers must also always yield the right of way to pedestrians, bicyclists, and other drivers who are already in the intersection.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
A person walking with a white cane or guide dog is likely to be A. A deaf person. B. A person involved with a traffic study. C. A blind person. D. None of the above. C. A blind person. Drivers must always yield the right of way to a pedestrian when the pedestrian is a blind person who is using a white cane or guide dog. This sign means A. No U-turn. B. Two-way left turn. C. Minimum speed limit. D. No parking. A. No U-turn. Regulation signs regulate traffic speed and movement, displaying rules which drivers must obey. Wherever this regulation sign is posted, U-turns are not permitted. This road sign means A. Bicycle crossing. B. Stop only if other cars are approaching. C. Bicycle store. D. Soft shoulders. A. Bicycle crossing. This sign, with the arrow below, indicates the location of a bicycle crossing path. Drive with caution around this sign because bicycles likely regularly cross or ride beside traffic in the area. When exiting a highway, you should slow down. A. On the main road, just before the exit lane. B. Once you see a toll booth. C. Once you have moved into the exit lane. D. When you first see the exit sign. How fast you drive does not affect the distance your vehicle travels after you brake to come to a stop. A. True. B. False. You may not park within. Fill in the blank. Of a crosswalk. A. 50 feet. B. 40 feet. C. 30 feet. D. 20 feet. D. 20 feet. Drivers should not park within 20 feet of a crosswalk. Drivers should only park where it is legal to do so and where other drivers can clearly see their stopped vehicle. Distracted drivers are at a greater risk of a crash when they are using which of the following? A. CD player. B. Radio. C. Cell phone. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Using a cell phone, including a hands-free phone, or any kind of audio device, including a radio or CD player, can be a dangerous distraction and contributes to the risk of a crash. When a curb is painted, fill in the blank. It indicates that only short parking stops are permitted. A. Yellow. B. Blue. C. White. D. Red. C. White. Painted curbs indicate parking restrictions. When a curb is painted white, it indicates that only short stops are permitted. If you are involved in a serious motor vehicle crash, A. Stop. B. Call the police. C. Determine if anyone is injured. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. If you are involved in a crash, move your vehicle off of the road and stop, if possible. If anyone is injured, call 911 and provide appropriate help. You must report the crash to law enforcement if there is an injury, a death, and/or more than $1,000 in property damage, or more than $200 worth of damage made to non-vehicle government property, such as signs or guardrails. At night, it is hardest to see. A. Road signs. B. Pedestrians. C. Other motorists. D. Street lights. B. Pedestrians. Compared to signs and other roadside objects, pedestrians are hardest to see at night. The act of turning your head and checking your blind spot before changing lanes, driving away from a curb, or merging your vehicle into traffic is A. A bad driving habit. B. A good driving habit. C. Unnecessary. D. Not necessary if you use the rearview mirror. B. A good driving habit. When changing lanes, it is important to check your blind spots. Do this by looking over your shoulder toward the next lane. Do not rely only on your mirrors. What is the appropriate action to take when approaching a railroad crossing that does not have signals to direct traffic? A. Always bring the car to a complete stop. B. Slow down and be prepared to stop. C. All railroad crossings have signals so you will never encounter this situation. D. Increase your speed to get across the tracks quickly. B. Slow down and be prepared to stop. When approaching an unmarked railroad crossing, slow down and be prepared to stop. Before you cross, Be sure that no trains are approaching from either direction on any track. If you see or hear a train coming, stop at a safe distance from the nearest track and wait to proceed until after the train passes. If another driver cuts you off in traffic, you should A. Pull next to the driver and yell at them. B. Let it go. C. Flash your high beams at the driver. D. Get back at the other driver by cutting them off. B. Let it go. To avoid the dangers of road rage, you should never take it personally if another driver cuts you off in traffic. Just let it go and continue driving safely. This sign means A. No right turn. B. You must turn right. C. Watch for traffic on your right. D. Don't park on the right side of the street. A. No right turn. A sign with a red circle and slash over a symbol indicates that the action represented by the symbol, in this example, a right turn, is not allowed. At a school crossing sign, you should A. Always stop, whether there's a stop sign or not. B. Watch for children and be ready to stop. C. Always sound your horn when you see children. D. Be ready to help children crossing the street. B. Watch for children and be ready to stop. You must always yield to pedestrians who are in or about to enter a crosswalk. Be alert to pedestrians when driving across intersections or turning. What are the colors of warning signs indicating upcoming hazards? A. Black letters or symbols on a white background. B. Black letters or symbols on a yellow background. C. White letters or symbols on a blue background. D. White letters or symbols on a green background. B. Black letters or symbols on a yellow background. Warning signs that indicate approaching hazards are usually yellow with black lettering or symbols. Warning signs in work zones are orange with black lettering or symbols. Which of the following statements is true? A. It is okay for drivers of other vehicles to follow motorcycles closely. B. A motorcycle with two people on it is more balanced than a motorcycle with just one rider. C. The driver of a passenger vehicle must change lanes completely when passing a motorcycle. D. Drivers of other vehicles can expect a motorcycle's brake lights to turn on when the motorcyclist slows down. C. The driver of a passenger vehicle must change lanes completely when passing a motorcycle. Motorcycles are entitled to the width of a full lane. Be sure your vehicle is entirely in the left lane before attempting to pass a motorcycle on the left. This sign means A. Slippery when wet. B. Watch for drunk drivers. C. Dangerous curve ahead. D. Bump in the road ahead. This sign means A. One-way traffic. B. Intersection ahead. C. Merging traffic from the right. D. Highway curves ahead. C. Merging traffic from the right. This sign indicates that there is merging traffic entering from the right. Signs indicating areas of public recreation are A. Orange. B. Red. C. Green. D. Brown. D. Brown. Signs that are brown indicate areas of cultural and historical significance or of public recreation. They can be a helpful resource when traveling in unfamiliar locations. This sign shows one type of A. Right turn. B. Intersection. C. Lane change. D. Road curve. B. Intersection. This sign indicates that a T intersection is ahead. A single broken white line down the center of a two-lane road indicates A. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are not permitted to pass. B. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. C. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are not permitted to pass. D. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. D. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. White lines are used to separate traffic moving in the same direction. Dashed lines indicate that drivers directly next to the line are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. You are driving up a hill and are approaching a heavy truck from the rear. You should know that A. The truck may be traveling at a speed slower than the posted speed limit. B. You may not be able to safely pass the truck. C. You may not be able to legally pass the truck. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Drivers must be aware that large vehicles often travel at a speed slower than the posted speed limit, especially when driving on an incline, and should use caution when approaching a large vehicle from the rear. When on a hill with limited visibility, it is unlawful to pass another vehicle. When driving in fog, you should use your high beam headlights. A. True. B. False. B. False. You should use your low beam headlights when driving in fog. High beams will reflect back at the driver and lower visibility. When a curb is painted, fill in the blank. It means no stopping, standing, or parking is permitted at any time. A. Yellow. B. Blue. C. Green. D. Red. The most important thing to remember about speed management and curves is that you must A. Drive at the posted speed limit as you enter the curve, then slow down at the sharpest part of the curve. B. Slow down before you enter the curve. C. Accelerate gently before you enter the curve. D. Drive at the posted speed limit before, throughout, and after the curve. B. Slow down before you enter the curve. The most important thing to remember about driving in curves is that your vehicle's inertia may make it difficult to turn. To maintain control, it is essential that you slow down before entering the curve. When passing a large vehicle, the driver of a small vehicle must be prepared for A. Loud noises. B. Excess air pollution. C. Wind gusts produced by the large vehicle. D. Falling vehicle parts. C. Wind gusts produced by the large vehicle. Large vehicles can cause wind gusts with a force great enough to cause direction changes in smaller vehicles. Drivers of small vehicles should be prepared to take proper corrective steering action when approaching or passing large vehicles that are moving at or near maximum speeds. When approaching a flashing yellow light, drivers should A. Increase their speed. B. Come to a complete stop. C. Turn on their headlights. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. A flashing yellow light warns of a hazard. Slow down and proceed with caution. This sign means A. No U-turn. B. No turning. C. No left turn. D. No right turn. A. No U-turn. This sign prohibits U-turns. Do not make a U-turn where this sign is posted. When sharing the road with large commercial vehicles, you should A. Expect the large vehicles to require extra time and space to slow down and stop. B. Remember that commercial vehicles have substantial blind spots. C. Properly signal your turns and lane changes well in advance. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Buses and large commercial trucks are equipped with air brakes. Air brakes do not function as quickly as the brakes of smaller vehicles, so large vehicles require extra time and space to slow down or stop. Large commercial vehicles have larger blind spots than smaller passenger vehicles. All drivers should always signal before turning and changing lanes. When a curb is painted, fill in the blank. It indicates a loading zone, or another parking restriction. A. Yellow. B. Blue. C. White. D. Red. A. Yellow. Painted curbs indicate parking restrictions. When a curb is painted yellow, it indicates the presence of a loading zone, or another parking restriction. What can you do to avoid the need to make emergency stops while driving in traffic? A. Honk your horn to make others aware of your presence. B. Look ahead and maintain a safe following distance. C. Drive in the right lane only. D. Drive more slowly than the flow of traffic. B. Look ahead and maintain a safe following distance. Keeping a safe following distance will enable you to react to an upcoming problem without the need for an emergency stop, which could cause a driver behind you to crash into the back of your vehicle. This sign means A. All traffic must turn left. B. No left turn. C. No U-turn. D. Truck route to the left. B. No left turn. This sign indicates that left turns are prohibited. You must stop at an intersection when you see a flashing red light. B. Steady yellow light. C. Yellow arrow. D. Flashing yellow light. A. Flashing red light. A flashing red traffic signal has the same meaning as a stop sign. At an intersection with a flashing red light, you must come to a complete stop, look both ways, and proceed only after the intersection is clear. A seat belt should be adjusted so that it A. is loose. B. is buckled snugly across your hip bones and lower abdomen. C. is hidden beneath the seat. D. keeps the seat belt buzzer or light from operating. B. is buckled snugly across your hip bones and lower abdomen. Lap belts should fit snugly across your hip bones and the lower part of your abdomen. Shoulder belts should sit comfortably so that you can insert your fist between the belt and your chest. Crossbuck signs indicate A. railroad crossings. B. school zones. C. no passing zones. D. hospitals. A. railroad crossings. Crossbuck signs tell drivers to yield to trains at a railroad crossing. Drivers should not try to outdrive a train. Regulatory signs are usually fill in the blank and should always be obeyed. A. White. B. Blue. C. Green. D. Orange. A. White. Regulatory signs regulate the movement of traffic. They are usually white with black markings and must always be obeyed by motorists. How should drivers use a shared center lane when traveling on a multi-lane roadway with traffic moving in opposite directions? A. To pass other vehicles. B. To slow down or stop before turning left. C. As an additional travel lane when traffic is moving slowly. D. As a parking lane. B. To slow down or stop before turning left. A driver may enter a shared center lane at a point on the roadway where their vehicle will have time to slow down or stop in order to make a safe left turn maneuver. A center turn lane is not a travel lane and may not be used for passing. If you are driving at a speed of 40 miles per hour or slower, you should stay a minimum of fill in the blank behind the vehicle in front of you. A. 4 seconds. B. 3 seconds. C. 2 seconds. D. 1 second. C. 2 seconds. If you are driving at a speed of 40 miles per hour or slower, stay at least 2 seconds behind the vehicle in front of you. This is the minimum recommended following distance, but it is a good idea to increase your following distance where you can. It is illegal for a person 21 years of age or older to drive with a minimum blood alcohol concentration (BAC) of A. 0.05%, B. 0.08%, C. 0.02%, D. 0.1%, B. 0.08%. For drivers age 21 or older, it is illegal to operate a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol concentration (BAC) of 0.08% or higher. Driving while under the influence of alcohol is not only illegal, but dangerous. Crosswalks are A. Always indicated by vertical pavement markings. B. Always indicated by horizontal pavement markings. C. Either indicated by pavement markings or are not marked at all. D. Always unmarked. C. Either indicated by pavement markings or are not marked at all. Crosswalks exist whether the lines are marked or unmarked. You must stop behind a crosswalk to allow any pedestrians the right of way. On slippery roads, you should A. Slow down. B. Drive more quickly. C. Drive the speed limit, with caution. D. Not drive more quickly than 20 miles per hour. A. Slow down. You should slow down at the first sign of rain, snow, or sleet, all of which can create slippery road conditions. When conditions on the road are less than ideal, safety may require that you drive more slowly than the posted speed limit. The best way to deal with tailgaters is to A. Speed up to increase the distance between you and the tailgater. B. Slam on your brakes to get the other driver to back off. C. Change lanes or gradually slow down to encourage them to pass. D. Ignore them. This road sign means A. No left turn. B. No U-turns. C. No exit. D. No right turn. D. No right turn. This sign indicates that right turns are prohibited. This road sign means A. All traffic must turn right. B. No right turn. C. All traffic must go straight ahead. D. A road joins from the right. D. A road joins from the right. This sign indicates that there is an intersection ahead. A road joins from the right. Because driving involves some risk, it is wise to continually improve your driving and observation skills. A. True. B. False. A. True. Driving can become unsafe if drivers believe they have nothing to improve. For your safety and the safety of others, always strive to improve your driving and observation skills.